Hi, my name is Aiden, and today I'm going to be discussing the cost of attendance. Now, I was going to start off with like a pretty grim outlook on how we have to pay thousands of dollars just to attend a university, take 4 years or more or less to graduate, get a piece of paper, but that's like kind of dark. But the issue of tuition is also something that shouldn't be sugarcoated. Like, I want to present this information as unbiased as I can, although it is still going to be a little biased considering, I am a college student and college is really expensive right now. Like, I'm pretty sure it's at an all-time high right now, through the research I did. They're like, oh, yeah, it's the highest it's ever been because we've also had the highest amount of students that we've ever had. But before we actually start, I just want to say thank you for watching. I know this video is going to be pretty amateur considering, I'm sitting on the floor inside of a dorm lounge and I don't know much about video making, so just bear with this amateur attempt. I want to start out saying we have to pay so much money to attend a college, and for what? A piece of paper? Like, that's it? Just a piece of paper? Diploma? Well, okay, that's not really what it is, but that's kind of what it feels like. Like, we go to graduation, we're at a ceremony, they call our name, we walk up, here's a piece of paper. That's all you have to show for your 4 years of hard work. And, of course, experience, but that's a lot of people can get the same experience without attending a university as well. Like you can just look up, do research, and learn your subject without having to attend a university. And if you're not on a scholarship, you might have to take out a loan. And for what? Like, you're still gonna have to show up and learn everything yourself. You're not gonna be like spoon fed everything, which, being spoon fed all your information isn't a great way to learn, but it's also like you kind of have to learn every little detail. Like they're not gonna teach you a lot. They're just gonna be like, oh, this is the name of this thing. Like for me as a computer science major, they're just teaching me, oh, you can use this to program things, but they don't really. They give you code that should work, but it doesn't really work. Like earlier today, I was making a coding calculator thing. You have to put in finance, whatever. And I put in all the code that they gave me, and none of it worked. So I had to look up some stuff, figure out some stuff on my own. It was a lot of work. It was just a mess. But that's still a pretty grim outlook, though. But the point still stands. Like the amount of debt accumulated by 18 to 24-year-olds due to attending a university is really, really high. Like about 42% and more or less 7 out of every 10 students say that they chose their university or their college due to like the financial circumstances that they were in. And as much as race is also a huge part in that, like, them not being accepted into a college because of their race or like the race being a part of their financial circumstances, it's another can of worms that I want to get into right now. And going into the depth, going into depth on the depth, 42 million Americans have college debt as we speak, and collectively they all owe about 1.6 trillion dollars, which is second only to mortgage. Owning a house is a little bit more expensive than going to college. Well, paying off your college, I guess. And this doesn't account for the fact that the COVID pandemic got a lot of workers laid off, which in turn made it a struggle for more people to pay back their debts. The US government, however, has tried to alleviate the issue with the coronavirus with a Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or CARES for short. And the CARES Act temporarily put a hold on federal loan payments from March 13th to March 30th of 2020. The suspension was meant to at least alleviate the stress from paying back loans as more people look for jobs amidst the pandemic. But the CARES Act was only targeted towards like people that took federal loan, like they took it out from the government directly from the education Department of Education. and that didn't cover everyone that took out a federal loan. If they took out what is it, a federal family education loan or a FEAL loan, as well as the Perkin loan, they weren't affected by the CARES Act, and they still had to pay back their debt during the COVID pandemic. I should probably also mention that private debt borrowers didn't fall out underneath this umbrella of the CARES Act, and they still had, whatever private matters they had to deal with, as well as not having the relief from the CARES Act. Now, in contrast to the 1980s and the 1990s, most high schoolers didn't enroll in a university, and those that did, less than half had to borrow money, any amount of money, to attend a university. Now, bring that in contrast with 2021, where two-thirds of high schoolers did attend a university right after graduation. Well, not right after graduation, but, after they graduated. And most of them had to take out loans in order to attend a university. And most of the highest number of loan borrowers were attending 2 to 4 year public universities, and the other half was taken out by graduate students alone. Now let's bring it into perspective. The amount of graduate school students is so much lower than regular 2 to 4 year students. Like, so this small portion of students took out half of what, or took out as much depth, or took out as much money out of a loan as the students that attended a 2 to 4 year university. And I believe that the reason they did that was because they saw it as a return on investment. But that's only if they were able to graduate and finish their either graduate school diploma or the regular diploma, like bachelor's degree. And a lot of students that take out loans, they just see it as that. They don't see it like, oh, I have to pay all this money back eventually. They're like, oh, no, I'm gonna take out this money and I'm gonna pay it back once I get a good career. Now, the issue is getting bigger and worse, I guess, year by year. And the rising prices of everything doesn't help. But that's mostly a product of inflation, not really of universities charging more. Although technically it is. But that's it's a whole rabbit hole. But the fees that students have to pay now is just getting higher and higher, and there's more fees of like technology nowadays. They have to pay fees on that most of the time, and it's just a lot of fees. But that's not stopping people from attending university though. Like, I'm here. I'm here in the university. There are more people attending university now more than ever. And with the House of Representative Democrats wanting to pass a bill to cancel over, or I think it's about $100,000 in debt for a certain group of people, not every person that took out loans, just a certain group of people. And I did research on that topic, and it was mostly like government workers. Like, if you took out a loan and then you started working in the government for a certain amount of time, then they would cancel your debt for you, which is a nice benefit if you think about it. But also, that's not a lot of people compared to the people that do have loans and are working in like private careers, they're not working underneath the government, most of them, anyways. And with that bill, well, okay, right now it's in a like a kind of a stalemate because there's a judge in Texas that was like, oh, no, I don't want that bill to pass. What the heck? It seems like we're getting closer and closer to an affordable tuition rate, but that's where we are now. The bill's still trying to get passed as of recording, and debt cancellation isn't just a far off dream now. And with that, I want to say thank you all for watching and have a good one.